Hello, internet, interwebs, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, MySpace. It's me, First Lady Michelle Obama. No, I'm just kidding. It's me, Lily Armani, here in Seattle, Washington. For those of you who do not know, I am a female impersonator, drag queen, comedian, stand-up comic, clown with okay good hair and sometimes better shoes, whatever it is that you want to call me. We had a fantastic show here in Seattle. I have a show weekly at Neighbours. Tonight's show is called Lily Armani, unTucked. And we had a fantastic group. We had people from all walks of life, gay, straight, bi, tie. We had a bachelorette who's getting married in almost 8 hours because it's almost 3 o'clock in the morning here on October 1st. That's right. I feel just like Diane Sawyer, staying up late and doing my works. She was there, and I don't know why it is that you want to spend your last night free and single at the gay bar at a drag show, having many adult beverages, and then show up and try not to throw up on your husband. But I support straight marriage, and I support gay marriage because I'm a good person. I am so grateful for the support that has been given to me and the team and our show. And one of the things that I love is that I'm able to drive my own bus. I'm able to take the show where it is that I want it to go. And I am so grateful that after 10 years, people are still showing up to find out what it is that I have to say. So I appreciate you. One of the directions and the U-turns that we took tonight at the show was talking about a young man named Jamie from New York who was 14 years old, who tragically ended his own life last Sunday. He was one of the contributors to the It Gets Better video campaign that was started by Dan Savage and his partner Terry. They both live here in Seattle. I asked if anyone in my audience has actually made a video, and only one person stood up and said that she had, and I brought her on stage and I asked what the gist of her video was, and she said that it was very heavy and she didn't know that it was the right time to talk about it. And I respected that. I was a little confused because it is a gay bar, you're at a drag show, and you've been given the floor, but I also know that what it is that she shared in her video probably cannot be like summed up in 2.5 seconds for some drag queen that wants to wrap up a show. So I asked if she would stick around for a second because I wanted to talk about the campaign, and she said sure. And so we talked about it at the show, and I said, you know, with all of the amazing work that it has done and the people that it has reached, and it's, you know, people like you and me and the people next door and Lady Gaga and Justin Bieber and the Kardashians, and well, the Kardashians aren't really celebrities but are talented, but it's reached them, and they watched it and they cared about it and they made their own. I said the only thing that I am saddened by or regret is that it's called It Gets Better, because I don't think that that is the truth for everyone or everything. I think that calling it It Gets Different might be a better name for the project. I think that you get better if you're watching this. I think that I get better. I work at it minute by minute every single day of my life. I think that the people that are around you, if they're open to and want to, they get better. But I don't think that situations and the bullying gets better. I think that it gets different. I think that you grow up and you finally leave school and the small town that is way too small for all of your big dreams, and you get out of there and you run into similar people and similar things and similar situations. I think that when you get older and you're more experienced, you're able to handle them differently. That's why I think it should be called It Gets Different, because I'm 29 years old underneath all of this. I know that I'm 40, but I'm not, I promise. Just 29, only, you know, a little over a decade out of high school, and I still wake up from nightmares of the hell that I went through and the people are not in my life anymore, but situations similar to that are, and I feel that I'm in a position where I can handle it differently now. I think taking it a step further from It Gets Different, we talked about this tonight at the show, is taking it to a video campaign of living proof. There's a beautiful song by Mary J. Blige, who is an amazing entertainer, one of the most amazing entertainers of, I don't know, the past 30 years. She's so raw and honest, and I adore her. It's called Living Proof. It's on the Help motion picture soundtrack. If you've not read the book, I encourage you to do so. If you've not seen the movie, I encourage you to read the book before you see the movie. I mean, they're both great, but the book is phenomenal. So there's a song on there called Living Proof, and when I heard it as the credits rolled when we saw the film, I cried because it spoke so much truth to my life, and I'm sure her life, and the life of everyone that listens to it. I know that it's hell for many of you right now, and I know that you're searching for anything that is gay, straight, bi, tie, that's something that's similar to yourself, to know that you're not alone, the same way that I did when I ditched school and ran out for Dan Savage's book. You're not alone. And I think that you growing up now, with the media the way that it is, I think that you have more proof of that. And I'm talking about Glee, because yes, that's great, and the singing's fantastic and all that stuff, but there is nobody that's growing up right now in some high school that's a gay boy that has now 2 love interests or something, and I don't believe that, because I think that's a mess. So if that's what you think your life should be, don't think that, because that's not what it's supposed to be. That is fantasy television, and I appreciate fantasy because it's not reality TV, but your life should not be Glee. So if you're not breaking out into song and dance over Barbara Streisand and Defying Gravity and Journey and all that stuff, a lot of y'all didn't even know what the hell Journey was until y'all watched the Glee and heard Don't Stop Believing. Like, oh my God, that's great. And then you're playing it in the car, and then your parents are like, oh my God, I love Journey. And like, what the hell is Journey? This is Glee. And you know, whatever, it doesn't matter. That's why television should unite all people from everywhere. But if your life is not Glee, don't worry about that, because that's not what it's supposed to be. If your life is a living hell, which I'm sure many of y'all's is, and mine is too at certain points in time, I understand it. You're not alone. And as hard as it may be for you to understand or believe this right now, you do not need to throw in the towel. You do not have to end it thinking that that is your only way out, because it's not. And it saddens me so very much that so many people think that, because just because you are no longer here doesn't mean that the bullies have stopped bullying. They've just moved and switched their target. And I don't mean that to sound selfish, and I don't mean that to sound hateful. I'm just letting you know that just because you're not here doesn't mean that it stops. It just stops for you in that moment. You know, the thing that dawned on me this evening when we were talking about it at the show is that with all of the faces and all of the names that I've seen from people who just could not take it anymore, and don't get me wrong, I do not judge these people. My heart goes out to them, and I hope that they have found the peace that they were looking for. But the peace has not been given to their family and their friends and the people that do love them and do care about them, and it hasn't stopped what's going on. When we were talking about it tonight, I said, you know, there's not one video, not one photo, not one news story, Facebook post where I have seen a bully who has committed suicide, who has thrown in the towel. Bullies have not given up. And let me tell you something, baby. You're better than all the bullies, honey. You're better than any of them. And you need to hear that, and you need to believe that. You need to believe in yourself. Even if you don't right now, it's great to hear it. You know, I was born and raised in the South, as I said, and I had only one good friend growing up, and that was my grandma, and I called her Mammy. And she died when I was 12 years old, and almost 30, there's not one day that goes by that I don't think about her, or don't feel her, or don't see her, or don't see something about her in my life. And she was diagnosed with cancer, and she had a little time before she passed, and she knew that I was gay. She knew that I was different. She knew that people were making fun of me and teasing me, and she knew that my life was going to be hard, and she told me. And I was 9 years old. This was before she was diagnosed. I was 9 years old, and she asked me one afternoon after school, because back home they used to rerun the Golden Girls in the afternoon, not just on Saturday night, but in the afternoon like they do now. That's the other thing. When I was in school, I thought I was the only little gay boy that watched Golden Girls. I grew up, ladies and gentlemen, and I found out every single gay person in the world watched Golden Girls with their grandma, if they had a grandma. So you were not alone. I watched it in the afternoon, and Blanche's brother, if you remember, was gay. And he had 2 episodes. There was one where they found out that he was gay, and there was one when he brought back his boyfriend he was going to get married to. And I asked Mammy, I said, what does that mean? I said, if he's gay, he likes boys, and if you're straight, you like girls. I said, if you like both, what does that mean? And she goes, that means you're greedy. And so I have believed that ever since I was 9 years old. So we talked about it, and she said, if you're gay, that means you like boys. And she goes, are you gay? And I said, I don't know what that means, but I do have crushes on boys. And she took me into her arms, and she hugged me, and she told me that she loved me, and that she was there for me, and she was there to protect me. Fast forward 3 years later, she was about to pass on, and she said that she knew that my life was not going to be easy, and she also knew that she was no longer going to be there to aid in that comfort. And she said, the thing that you need to remember, my darling, she said, you need to know that if people like you, they will grow to love you. If they hate you, they're wasting their time, because they can't beat you, and they sure as hell can't join you. And that's what I've lived by. I believe every single word of that. You are worth more than what you're going through now. And if you don't believe me, take a look at any of the 1,200,000 million other videos that are on the YouTube right now. You're worth more than that. And if you don't feel it for yourself, and if you don't feel it for me or for Lady Gaga, you should feel it for the people that are coming up behind you. Those that are coming up behind you now are deserving of your living proof story. I'm not telling you to go to your video camera right now and tell your story and all that stuff if you don't want to. Because maybe you need a little more experience or a couple more years. Or maybe you just need to make the video to make a connection. Just know that people behind you deserve to hear what it is that you have to say, because your experience and your struggles will ease their pain. So do everything you can to hold on and stick it out. Connect with Facebook, email, YouTube, whoever it is that you need to get some clearance in your life, because it's all of our responsibilities to clear the brush as best we can for those coming up behind us. From this day forward, you should know that you are loved. If you've never felt it before, feel it now, baby, because somebody out there loves you. You may not know their name, you may not ever see their face, but they want great things for you. I want great things for you. Hell, I want great things for myself. Maybe you can help me. Drop me a note. lilyarmani@gmail.com. It gets better, it gets different, and you're in charge of your living proof story.